Welcome everyone, I'm Adeshewa Josh and this is Africa Matters. The BRICS economic bloc has wrapped up its summit in Johannesburg. We look at what its expansion and increasing global influence means for the African continent. And staying in South Africa, we spotlight the fight to take illegal guns off the street as the country grapples with violent crimes. And we'll also tell you about a Namibian team helping seals entangled in plastic waste. The BRICS bloc of emerging economies currently consists of Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, and represents more than 30% of the global GDP, a fifth of global trade, and more than 40% of the world's population. At the bloc's 15th annual summit in Johannesburg, BRICS leaders discussed how to harness their collective economic and political clout as a counterweight to Western trade and financial institutions, which they say are skewed against them. They also reached a consensus on expanding the membership.
We decided to invite the Argentine Republic, the Arab Republic of Egypt, the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia, the Islamic Republic of Iran, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates to become full members of BRICS. The membership will take effect from the 1st of January 2024.
But there have been divisions among BRICS leaders over how many new members they should admit and how quickly. South Africa was the first African country to join back in 2010. And at least 40 countries have expressed interest in joining BRICS, and half of them have formally applied to also join. Members stand to benefit from the new development bank set up by the BRICS nation in 2015 as an alternative to Western-dominated financial institutions such as the World Bank and IMF. The NDB says it has lent $33 billion for infrastructure and sustainable development projects so far, and it plans to offer up to $10 billion in loans this year. But nearly 15 years since BRICS was founded, only around 6% of members' total trade is with each other. The NDB also still relies on the US dollar and euros to lend and continues to struggle under sanctions on Russia and a global economic downturn. Let's hear more from Jonathan Ofeanza. He is an Africa analyst and the founder of Africa Briefing magazine. He joins me from London. Thank you so much for joining the program. Egypt and Ethiopia have been invited to join BRICS in January, but Nigeria didn't make the cut despite being one of Africa's biggest economy. What are the implications of this decision?
Well, there's no big reason for that. Don't forget that I think Egypt and Ethiopia are among more than a dozen countries that applied, to join BRICS. Okay, and I think 6 of them were chosen, 6 including Egypt and Ethiopia were chosen. And I'm not sure that Nigeria did apply. And in any case, look, Nigeria, I believe, has still not ratified the African Continental Free Trade Area agreement. Okay, so if we haven't even ratified, your own continent trade agreement, how do you apply to join a multilateral, body? So I believe when the time is right, I believe that when Nigeria believe the time is right for it to join, I think it will do so. And I'm sure when it does so, I'm sure there's no reason why BRICS shouldn't admit Nigeria, to its membership in the future.
Has South Africa benefited from its membership of BRICS, and what value is there for African countries that are joining or seeking to join the bloc?
Okay, look, BRICS is, it's a young multilateral, trade and political, mainly, trade and economic grouping. And I believe South Africa, for example, was the last member to join before the 6 were invited. Was the last member to join: Russia, India, China, Brazil. Okay. And I believe is deriving some preferential trade benefits, with Brazil, with India, with China. And we all know that South Africa, because of its anti-apartheid struggles, ANC, has some long ties with Russia already, even before it joined BRICS. So I believe the benefits are there, but they are not easily quantifiable now. But I believe that the benefits are there, and any future benefits will also accrue to these African members.
Has the South African economy benefited directly from its membership of BRICS?
Well, if it hasn't derived any benefit, it will very soon, because BRICS, has set up a new development bank headed by the former Brazilian Prime Minister Dilma Rousseff. Okay, and this new development bank, I believe, will assist, let's say, the African members, with more concessional loans, loans without any stringent conditions attached. Look, right now, African countries pay 8 times more for their loans than European countries or Latin American countries. So this new development bank that is coming into effect, will assist members, like South Africa, African members, South Africa, Egypt, and Ethiopia. So I believe if it has derived some benefits, it will derive the economic benefits in the very, very foreseeable future with the establishment of the new development bank.
As you rightly mentioned, African leaders often complain of skewed trade deals. And is BRICS going to be any different, do you think?
I believe BRICS will be different because, look, we talk about import tariffs. Look, US, EU, have this, strong tariffs, against imports from Africa. Even the imports that leave Africa to Europe and America, have to meet some stringent conditions. But I believe China, India, Brazil, being second world countries, if you like, okay, they fall within the same country, so they will know how to relate, they will know how to treat the African members and offer better conditions, better tariffs, to boost trade between their countries.
Oh, well, let's face it, the world is so closely knit right now that no bloc or continent can exist without the support of others. So this BRICS, do you think that African countries are in a setup that could force them to pick a side between their Western partners and BRICS?
I'm not sure the West or any other country can force Africa to choose a partner. If anything, Africa decides, which side to partner with, or as well as so forth. Look, take the DRC. DRC, there's a scramble for rare earth minerals, cobalt, tantalum, and that kind of thing from DRC. Zimbabwe, I think, has the world's largest reserves of lithium, and these are the new minerals that are required, for EVs. The trend now is towards electric vehicles for the future, and Africa is in the midst of it. So Africa has the trump card, has the means, the resources to leverage which side, to align with. Okay, instead of the West forcing Africa to align, let's say, with America, with EU, or maybe China and Russia, forcing them to align with them.
That's right. Thank you so much, Jonathan Ofe-Ansah, an Africa analyst and the founder of Africa Briefing Magazine. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
We have more stories coming up for you here on Africa Matters, including SEAL heroes rescued entangled marine life from plastic pollution in Namibia, a race against time to save these playful creatures from the threats of plastic waste. And Nigeria tests out a conservation strategy that could help curb the illicit wildlife trade as it attempts to put an end to poaching and trafficking. Guns are the most common weapon of murder in South Africa. Police say they are currently focused on retrieving the thousands of illegal guns in circulation, which are causing havoc in local communities. Africa Matters spoke to one shooting survivor about how families are coping with the growing violence as a landmark class action against the government gets underway. Crystal Alderson filed this report from Cape Town.
43-year-old Natalie Dirks and her 6 children live in Cape Town. One member of the family is missing. Natalie's 7th son, Lucas, was shot and killed 8 years ago, along with 2 of his friends. We film at an undisclosed location in the city so that Natalie feels safe. She says the sadness of losing a child never goes away.
It's a sadness you walk with every day. And what is worse is that there's never been justice for him. The police were only at home once and they have never explained if they arrested anyone for his murder. The saddest thing of all is that I have to pass the spot where he was murdered.
Gun Free South Africa, a local NGO, says on average 31 people are shot and killed every day across South Africa.
On one level, it is a war zone. I think we don't like to necessarily use that term because it doesn't give you any clues then about what is the intervention that's required. And for Gun Free South Africa, we have the data. We know who's been killed. We know what types of guns are being used in crime and in the murder mainly of young black men killing each other. We know the circumstances.
Gun violence is wreaking havoc in communities across the province.
The latest crime statistics show that guns were the leading weapon used in murder in the Western Cape in the first 3 months of this year. And gun violence is expensive. It costs the state millions of dollars.
Local police say they are trying their utmost to get illegal guns off the street. It's during raids like this that they arrest perpetrators. They admit it's an endless battle day and night to clean the streets of illegal guns.
I have a firm belief and a firm hope, and it's not a blind hope, because I've seen in some of our areas we have seen successes, and since taking on this role, I am becoming more determined, because I've seen we have over 16,000 Neighborhood Watch members, men and women that are volunteering and dedicating their time in order to keep communities safe.
Meanwhile, in a landmark class action by Gun Free South Africa, several families, including Natalie Dirks, are holding the police accountable for neglecting to eradicate illegal guns. For Natalie, she says the case is about justice for her and many other families that have lost loved ones through gun violence.
The reason why I'm part of this is because there was nothing from the police. They did nothing. No one came to me, no one said anything. I feel it's just not right.
South Africa's Constitutional Court has ruled that gun ownership is not a right, but rather a privilege regulated by the Firearms Control Act. But it's little comfort for Natalie, who says she lives with a sadness that never goes away. Crystal Alderson, Africa Matters, Cape Town, South Africa.
To the Eastern Democratic Republic of the Congo, where UNICEF says hundreds of children are at risk from the worst cholera crisis since 2017. The situation is made even worse by conflict and displacement, as several IDP camps around the capital, Goma, face massive water shortages and poor sanitation. Afzal Ahmed explains.
Home to more than 300,000 internally displaced people, the Bulengo IDP camp is the latest cholera hotspot in the DRC's North Kivu province. Health workers are racing to keep the disease from spreading.
What we do here first, we treat the suspected cholera cases. That's what we do here. The patient arrives. We have a triage service and observation. We triage the patient and then observe for 4 to 6 hours. We see if it's confirmed as a case of cholera. If it's not, we refer the patient to other departments. But if it's a case of cholera, we treat him.
Overcrowding aside, the people here lack access to clean water, and fewer than a third of the population have access to a latrine. So far this year, more than 21,000 people in North Kivu province have caught the disease. Nearly half of them are children below the age of 5, according to the Ministry of Public Health.
When we arrived at this site for displaced people, we had to fetch water from the lake. It was a long distance, and the water was very dirty, with no aqua taps to purify it. This water caused us health problems, as we did our laundry where we got the water to drink.
The DRC, which is battling nearly 3 decades of armed conflict, showed us the worst displacement crisis in Africa. The UN says there are more than 6.3 million displaced people across the country, putting pressure on basic resources in camps like Bulengo. UNICEF is partnering with local health workers to deal with some of the challenges.
Before, it was a serious problem. Thanks to UNICEF, we have installed 121 latrine doors and around 100 showers. We have also dug garbage pits to manage waste.
But as the conflict drags on, the number of internally displaced people is expected to rise, putting children already traumatized by the conflict at even greater risk. Afzal Ahmed, Africa Matters.
Seals play an important role in the marine ecosystem. They help to create a balance by eating fish, squids, and crustaceans. They are also an important food source for their natural predators, sharks and whales. But there's now another looming threat to their survival in their ecosystem, as Vitalio Angula reports from Walvis Bay, Namibia.
Naude and Kacha Drea run an organization called Oceans Conservation Namibia. The pair carry out seal rescue operations where they help free seals entangled by human waste, such as discarded fishing gear and plastic.
Yeah, I see it now.
A very important aspect of disentangling seals is spotting. This means identifying the seals which need to be disentangled and working out a strategy to catch as many for the day. Antoine Amori is today's spotter.
Something white coming out of its mouth.
The first thing when we're in patrol that we have to do is to spot an entangled seal. And as you can see, there are thousands of them, so it's quite difficult. And obviously, if we do not spot an entangled seal, well, we cannot do anything. So this is the most important thing. And it's not easy because the entanglements are usually very, very small. Most of it is usually fishing lines, which are really thin, very hard to see.
They've managed to help 3,500 seals since they started their operations in 2013. Because seals are naturally scared of humans, they must be approached with caution before they flee into the ocean. They can also be aggressive.
Okay, damage. So this is some sort of plastic packaging. It's come from the ocean. Probably the strong winds have blown it in from the town side. Seals are very playful by nature, so they end up swimming through here, getting stuck. It can't come off, it's quite strong, so it ends up cutting into their skin. You can see there's a lot of bite marks in here. A lot of other seals have tried to help the seal take it off, bite it off, unsuccessfully. Luckily we found him and we could intervene.
Researchers say that fishing-related materials account for about half of all entanglements. Although the government outlawed the disposal of fishing gear in the sea or on beaches in 2001, it's rarely enforced, and it's not the only challenge. Microplastics accumulate in the prey of seals and causes them immense harm. While Namibia does not have a lot of rivers running into the ocean, tons of plastics blown from dump sites still finds its way into the marine ecosystem. This causes harm, and this poses a danger not only to seals, but to humans who consume the same fish. Vitalio Angula, Africa Matters, Walvis Bay, Namibia.
The World Bank estimates the global illicit wildlife trade is worth between $7.8 billion and $10 billion a year, making it the fourth most lucrative illegal business after narcotics, human trafficking, and weapons. Many countries have failed to hold poachers and wildlife traffickers accountable for their crimes. But the Nigerian Conservation Foundation may have found an effective way to prevent them from happening in the first place, as Bushra Guptush explains.
A wildlife poacher turned protector of life at a tropical rainforest in Nigeria. The non-profit Nigerian Conservation Foundation has hired rangers to fight against poaching for decades. But hiring former hunters as rangers has been groundbreaking.
When I see a hunter, I kill some animal which is not supposed to be killed, like pangolin. I didn't even know that it's useful for us. And I decided that this animal is not many in the forest because there's many others are killed out of it. And I decided that when this animal finish in the bush, my children will not be able to know the animal that they are calling pangolin. And I realized that, hey, this animal is not supposed to be killed.
A UNESCO-designated Oma Biosphere Reserve in southern Nigeria is home to endangered animal species, including African elephants, white-throated monkeys, and pangolins. 550 square kilometers of the area is designated as a conservation zone as well to help to deal with excessive logging, uncontrolled farming, and illegal hunting.
I make a lot of mistakes when I see a hunter, but by that time I didn't even know. Because I'm a hunter, there's no any animal that I cannot kill. But when I become a ranger, and I stopped the hunting fully. Because I see some animal when I become a ranger that I never see in my life, like an elephant.
The foundation also established an elephant camp as the ranger's top priority, installing motion-detecting cameras on trees to capture footage of animals and poachers. A 10-member ranger team with former hunters monitor their movements.
Anytime I see hunter like me in our forest, I always arrest them because I talk to them. This reserve, we reserve it for wild animals.
These rangers are now putting their skills to good use, transforming not only their life, but that all of living creatures around the reserve. Büşra Göktaş, Africa Matters.
Typical sports like football and boxing have long enjoyed immense popularity in Nigeria, with hundreds of thousands of fans and followers. But with the help of a child prodigy, all eyes are turning to a more unorthodox sport, the game of chess. Priyanka Navani reports.
Ivy Irieto is a real-life chess queen. At only 8 years old, she's not only mastered the game, but she's using it to empower other Nigerian children.
I go around giving chess because I want people to learn how to play chess so that they will not be crime in the world. The world can be a peaceful place and a better place.
Ivy uses her ambassadorship with US-based organization Gift of Chess to go into different neighborhoods, schools, and orphanages, delivering kids chessboards and lessons on the game so near to her heart.
Before her arrival, we already have a chess club, but her coming boosts it. Many children join, they are logging to belong to chess club, and I think her coming improves our club a lot.
But when Ivy isn't saving the world through chess, she's just an ordinary kid trying to balance it all.
It's tough because I also school, and the few times if I'm on midterm, I have to go to schools that are not on midterm break. And also if I'm not on midterm, I go to schools, then next day I copy my notes.
Helping her through is her dad, who began teaching her chess at age 4.
Everything I know about chess, I taught her to the best of my knowledge. But because I want her to take it to the next level, I have to give her a coach.
Ivy hopes to become a grand master by the time she is 15. If achieved, she'd be in the company of the world's youngest chess greats ever. Priyanka Navani, Africa Matters.
This week, we explore Sodilo in northwestern Botswana, near the Namibian border. The ancient city's archaeological site is known as the Louvre of the desert and dates back more than 100,000 years. Let's take a closer look. that's our show this week. Kindly share your thoughts and suggestions about the stories you've seen on this episode, or ideas on what you would like us to cover on Twitter using the hashtag #AfricaMatters. Feel free to reach out to me on my personal handle at @AdeshawaJosh. You can watch this episode and more on YouTube. Just search Africa Matters TRT World. Like, comment, and share. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you next week.